Welcome to another video. I am going to get a little political today, but I do want to let you guys know, just in case you guys don't like political things and you're bothered by them or whatever. It is going to be involving boxing a little bit because I do watch boxing a lot, and I see a lot of the politics in boxing. You know, it's also going to involve the racism. And I'm telling you guys all these things so that you'll kind of, I guess it's a warning if you're too sensitive to that stuff. Because I know in this day and age, it's kind of hard for people to, um, take any type of criticism or um, see things differently in a different type of way. And um, and so if that's the case with you, then you might as well um, go to another video or look at another one of my videos that ain't so political. Um, and also, I'm going to talk about this here. It's been on the news a lot with Elon Musk doing the Hitler salute or whatever. And some people like there's different versions of it. Some people saying that it was, some people saying that it was the Roman salute. Um, some people are calling it um, autism. And but the thing is, it's like when it comes to autism, right? Let's get that one out of the way first. Autism doesn't make you do things like this. Now, there is such thing as cerebral palsy or autism with some cerebral palsy. Is it palsy or palsy? I don't know exactly the medical term for it, but it's a certain medical condition that makes your hands kind of move in sporadic ways and contort in different ways, which I never knew um, Elon to have. In fact, I have my doubts that he even is, autistic. Um, I find Elon as one of these guys that likes to look at whatever is popular and then go and try to buy it or try to buy into it. And he's done it several times in his career. Um, and I feel like he knows that this is kind of a thing. And it's very popular in a lot of the circles that he's running in right now. And because of that, he decided to kind of sneak it in there. That's my opinion. Now, of course, you can think whatever you want, but this salute has a history. It has a past, and I want to talk about it a little bit because a lot of people don't know where it comes from, and some people say that it's a Roman salute, and they got it from the Romans. But the thing is, here's the thing that I've found out. The first people that used it, and we're going to talk about Bill Haney too in a little bit, were Mexicans. Like the first people that were recorded as using it were Mexicans. Okay, now after that, only vocally by word of mouth, people said that it was the Roman salute. Okay, but they've never had any paintings of it that I know of, or anything in the history books that I personally know of that they used to do that. Now, when it comes to Mexicans, we have them recorded. These are not you, by the way. We have them recorded. These here are Mexicans, and the guy here on the right, on my right or your right, I don't know. Point is, this guy here with all the medals and the mustache, he is Porfirio Diaz. Um, he was a dictator who ruled over Mexico back in the 1800s. I really don't remember exactly what the year was, but it was in the 1800s. So it was way before World War One and World War Two. Okay, so it was way before that. So you start thinking about this, and you start thinking about um, how they influenced the Nazis. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure this goes more into the past, into the Aztecs. And that's my opinion. Of course, it's a theory. I think the Aztecs did it first. I think that they were praising the sun and giving up their sword and their heart to the sun god. And what they would do is they would grab their knives, similar to what they're doing here, and their sword clubs, because they used to have sword clubs, the Mexica or the Aztec, whichever you want to call them, because the Aztec was actually a derogatory form of addressing a Mexica. But the point is, they would grab their sword clubs across their chest and then point um, to the sun. And sometimes they would have a shield and they would cross it, both of them together, and then uh, point to the sun. And this was a salute to the god of the Aztecs, which was the jaguar god, um, and that's what they were doing. And of course, I feel like the Nazis, because the Nazis were looking all over the world for this ancient race of people that were superior beings, and they wanted to be they wanted to be connected to those people, or at least make their people believe that they were connected to to that lineage, connected to Atlantis and connected to all of this stuff. Now, if you don't know, Germany did try to ally themselves with Mexico in the past. And they did say that if Mexico takes over the United States, that it will, give them their land back that the U.S. Has stolen from. This is recorded in history. Of course, Mexico declined and decided to join forces with the United States. And so there's definitely always been almost like a weird friendship between Germany and Mexico. And not only a weird friendship, but a similarity in even music, if you think about it. And I don't know if you know, but there was a lot of Jews in Mexico. There was also a lot of Jews still to today, there was a lot of Jews in in Germany. And so you start to look at all of these connections, and you start to look at how Mexicans used to believe that the superior race came from Mexico, and this was way before the Germans thought of it. By the way, this was like way, way before, even before Porfirio Diaz, and that's what bringing me back to a certain thing that happened in boxing last year, where actually it was before last year. It was in 2023, where Devin Haney's big ass mouth, he was going around talking to boxing fans, Mexican boxing fans, or Mexican American boxing fans that don't know a lot about their history. Was telling them, um, hey, Ryan Garcia, he's not La Raza. Is Ryan Garcia La Raza? And of course, listen, let me tell you something about my people, right? We're going to agree with you. We'd rather agree with you at the spot and make fun of you later than make like a whole big deal in front of everybody and embarrass you. Because it's just too complicated. So we're just going to be like, yeah, whatever, bro. You want a beer? And then proceed from there. We're not really confrontational people when it comes to words. We're more, if we get mad, we know the truth, or we know whatever it is, we're just gonna lose our shit and start punching, cracking bottles and shit. Um, so most of the people were agreeing with, and I'm pretty sure that some of those people that were agreeing with Devin Haney actually believed it, because Ryan Garcia, he's not necessarily, um, when you look at him, he's not necessarily um, what you would call a typical Mexican, or what people think a Mexican should look like, or whatever. But that's, neither here nor there. I'm talking about what Devin Haney was saying to the people. He was saying that Ryan Garcia wasn't La Raza. And he kept saying La Raza, La Raza. He said, hey, he was going all over the place trying to say some shit that he doesn't even know about. And 99% of people don't know what that means or where it comes from. So I want to talk about that right now. La Raza means the race. The race. And it comes from a very early, very, very, very early thought that the Spanish/Mexican Empire had. They had this idea that the Aztecs, the Mexica, were good. Well, the truth is that they were good at fighting. They're legendary fighters. Okay, like, it's kind of underestimated how good the Aztecs were. And the reason I think that they were really good at fighting, or the Mexica, let's call them Mexica for now. They were really good at fighting is because of the accounts of the Spanish. That's one of the main reasons. The second reason is because how these people didn't really have advanced weapons. They had Stone Age weapons, Stone Age weaponry. And they were able to, keep the Spanish at bay for a really long time. Of course, the Spanish were a little bit more strategic about it, or whatever. But the point is, the Spanish believed, after defeating the Mexica and taking over the empire, that they had taken over most of the whole New World. The whole New World belonged to them now, because they believed that that was the biggest city. So it's like, they thought that it was like if you go to a country and that's a capital because it's the biggest one, so now they own the whole thing. They believe that, and they also believe that the people, if they mix with the people, that they would get the strength and the abilities that the Mexica seem to have. Okay, and that would bring forth a superior race that would rule the world. That's what they thought, and it's written in some of the books that the Spanish, and not just the Spanish, but the mestizos would believe in. So that race was called La Raza, which means the Mexican race. The new Mexican race was a mixture of Spanish and indigenous blood. That's what they wanted it to be at the beginning. And you would see a lot of mixing going on between Spanish and native peoples. Of course, other mixtures were frowned upon a little bit more, or wanted to be frowned upon a little bit more in the beginning. But what they really were trying to do is they were trying to create a certain type of belief that Mexicans were a superior race. Okay, and at the beginning, like before that, it was specifically the mixture of those two people, the Spanish and native blood. And the reason I think that the natives were really good warriors, because nobody's going to want to mix with. If you conquer a country, nobody's going to want to mix with the people there unless they show you something. Like, I feel like maybe they got there and they saw the structures that they had built, and they saw how they fought, and they saw the skills that they were implementing with with the sword club. And also, some of these natives were learning how to use horses immediately. Like they, that's the other thing that I was gonna say. Like some of the natives and some of the Mexica and stuff like that, they were starting to immediately learn how to use horses just by looking at it. It's almost like they had photographic memory or something, and that scared the Spanish, and that also made them think that they were like great warriors or something, because how do they just automatically know how to ride the horses? It takes a lot of training, and it also, even to tame a horse to ride with you is hard. So to see somebody just pick up a horse and immediately know how to ride it was definitely scary to the Spanish, and that's why they made it illegal. And then when they took over, they would only let the Mexica ride donkeys, and that's where the whole donkey thing came into place. You know how they always see a Mexican with a big sombrero riding a donkey, so and that's why they did that, because they didn't want the natives riding horses, because if they learned that fast, then the potential for them in a horse was crazy, and they were scared of that, so they kept them to riding donkeys. But my point is this: La Raza comes from that. It comes from way back when they started the whole Mexican thing. So it's kind of if you think about it, it's a bit of a fascist belief. It's a bit of a racist belief, to believe that you have a superior race to other people, or to believe that the mixing of certain peoples is going to bring a superior race that's going to take over the world. And it's still in some of the lyrics of the song, right? He gave you a soldier, un soldado en cada hijo te dio, means it's lyrics from the national anthem, and it says he gave you a soldier in each son. So meaning if you were born in Mexico or of Mexican people, you're always going to be loyal to Mexico, and you'll be fighting for Mexico. That's kind of like the vibes that you get from that, and that every Mexican knows how to fight in a way. It kind of gives those vibes, and so you could see that even in the words of the song, right? You still have, this sort of belief that there is a superior people that is going to rule the world. And it even says it in the song as well. If you think about it, it says the world will shake at the sound of our cannons, or something like that. So it's a very warrior-like song, which you listen to it and it sounds pretty or whatever, right? But then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, yeah, there's definitely some crazy shit going on here. And it's a very, like, I don't know, it's just, when you listen to that, and you listen to the stuff Hitler said and the stuff that he was preaching over in, Germany, very similar stuff, and I feel like Adolf Hitler and the Nazis believed that the Mexica and the Mayans and all of these people were descendants of Atlantis, and that they were chosen people, and that's why they wanted to unite with the Mexicans, even though the Mexicans never wanted to do that at all. Maybe when Porfirio Diaz was he was the president, he was a dictator. Maybe when he was around, they might have gotten a lot of contact, but there's a lot of German influence and a lot of Jewish influence in Mexico, guys. Like, and it's very sneaky. Like, there's a lot of crypto Mexican cities in Mexico. There's a lot of like, for example, German music. Like, there's a lot of German music in Mexico. that's popular, like the accordion, norteños and stuff like that. All of that stuff is German, and in a sense also Jewish. Which I don't want to explain why, but um, I mean it's pretty obvious. But anyways, that's where that comes from. And so when Devin Haney talks about that, a lot of people don't really know what that means and what that implies. It's a bit of a racist statement to say "que viva la raza," but really what it means is que viva, long live Mexican people or something like that. Is it bad? It could be seen as a bad thing, because to think that your race is superior than everybody else is a bit of a stupid thing to think, in my opinion. Of course, pride is good, pride in oneself, pride in one's people, but to believe, that you're better than everybody else just simply because you're just black or Mexican or white, in my opinion, is a bit stupid. But that's what the people that founded Mexico believed. New Spain, that's what they believed. And that's what the Germans believed. They believed that they were connected to those people. They were connected to the people, and that's why they try to unite with Mexico. I mean, why else would they want to do that? They didn't try to unite with anybody. Japan, Italy. They tried to unite with Mexico, like I said, but it just didn't happen. But that's what I think now, and I actually think that's where it started from, the whole Nazi salute and the whole idea that that you could create a superior race. Because if you look at what the whole Porfirio Diaz thing and even the Que Viva la Raza thing predates Germany's belief that they were a superior race. It predates them. So in my opinion, Mexicans influenced the Nazis into the whole superior race thing. And so we see how these people end up, by the way. And by the way, a lot of black people believe that they're the superior race as well. So just letting you guys know how these mentalities end, and the truth is that race sells. If you look at boxing now in this day and age, the best matchups that can be made, or matchups between, especially here in the U.S. In other countries, people don't really care. They care, but in other ways. But here, they like to match up black people versus Mexicans. Okay, that's the main thing they like to do. And it's because, I mean, let's be honest, these two people have been constantly, at the forefront of boxing. They've been the best in boxing for a long time. And there's always competition between these two people, and there's always somebody saying that the other sucks and the other. I mean, it's constant. Look at Andre Ward, Bradley, James Toney. I could do more, but those are the main ones that I can see that definitely they're always going to be on the side of the black fighter, whether he's wrong or right in whatever they do. And it's very typical of them to do that. And then you also have, well, I really don't know any Mexican commentators like that, except for maybe Julio Cesar Chavez, Eric Morales, and Barrera. And the difference, in my opinion, and of course I'm being a little biased, but the difference in my opinion is that these Mexican boxers that are now commentators, they don't necessarily always say that that certain fighter sucks, you know, and the Mexican fighter is going to win. They usually say, yeah, the other guy is very good, but we're just going to have to see what happens, and I hope that the Mexican wins. Okay, so there's a difference to that. It's a little bit less arrogant, and a little bit less race related. You know, to where it's not as obvious. I guess they're being a little bit more sneaky about it, but you know, there's definitely a competition between these two people. And the thing is, the people that are behind the scenes, they know this, and they're starting to make, you know, bank on this, you know, because race sells. Racism sells. You know, like look at Donald Trump. The first time he came in office, he made his career off of racism, right? And a lot of people want to say, "Oh, he didn't really mean anything." There's a reason his numbers went up after he said, you know, what did he said? He said, I forgot what he said exactly, but he said some are good people. So I guess when he said some are good people, he was like, the people were like, "Oh my God, he said someone was good." Oh, yes, daddy. You know, like some get the gayest shit, bro. But and so you look at this and you see how popular he got after saying that, and you realize that here in America, race is very important to people. You know, in fact, one can trace back how this whole thing started by Obama becoming president. You know, Obama became president, and a lot of people didn't like that. Of course, they wanted to say that it was because he was Muslim, which he wasn't. They wanted to say that it was because he was he wasn't really an American, you know, and so many things that they said about Obama. You know, that his wife was a man, that he was gay, that he was a cokehead when he was in college. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And you started to realize then, when Obama became president, that this was going to have a backlash. Simply by him being president and being black, there was a backlash. That was it. That was the only thing that needed to happen. And I knew, because, you see, when I was younger, it was a little bit more relaxed, right? And people could take criticism more. And, you know, like, for example, we used to have a cartoon called The Animaniacs. And The Animaniacs, it was pretty much constant trashing of Bill Clinton, George Bush, you know, all of these political figures were constantly being made fun of. And nobody really cared. Nobody really batted an eye. And celebrities would also made fun of, you know, left and right. Nobody really was that sensitive back in the days. And these days, if you say anything about Trump, or you say anything about Obama or Biden, you know, first of all, it's not funny, because people aren't funny anymore. They just go for shock value. That's what I've noticed as well. So if they say something like, Biden's a pussy, you know, and it's like, okay, cool. And it's an insult, and then there's actual funny jokes. And that's what I think people miss now. People don't really know how to create a joke or say anything like that. It's just or say anything even political. It's just everything's so plain and going for shock value and stuff like that. It's not really as good as it used to be, in my opinion. But nowadays you can't really have anything like the Animaniacs today, you know, because people could get fired nowadays. I think somebody just got fired. I heard somebody got fired for saying that Elon Musk did the Hitler salute, and they caught her online saying that, and they fired her ass. I was like, bro, like it didn't used to be like that. People could have an opinion, and you wouldn't get fired for it. People would just be like, all right, cool. But now people are starting to get fired for their opinions. They're starting to suffer consequences for their political opinions because people are just too sensitive. They just can't really take different ideas. Um, so so when it comes to boxing, guys, they know that this sells. They know that anybody that says any racist shit, they're going to get popularity online. This is the same reason why Andrew Tate says crazy shit, about women. Anything that goes for shock value, it's going to get people their numbers up. The same reason why Ryan Garcia did what he did and all the things that he does. Because he knows that that's what sells. But my thing is, how do you hate someone like Ryan Garcia but love someone like Andrew Tate and love someone like, I'm not going to get too political because I know that people are very sensitive about certain political figures. But notice how I'm dancing around a certain guy. That's the guy that I don't want to touch because some of y'all pussies be getting wet for that dude for sure. and I'm talking about guys here. But the thing is, a lot of our heroes have said racist things in the past, including Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, him doing the whole Hitler salute, that's just the tip of the iceberg, bro. Like, I was looking at a skit that reminds me of Elon Musk, and this whole thing where people try to defend the right for certain things that they do, and then little by little they're starting to do things, and you're like, oh no, that's just. And it reminds me of that Key and Peele skit where he has that mustache and he goes like, whoa, why are you wearing a mustache? He was like, oh, Charlie Chaplin had it, it's not really, he doesn't get to claim the mustache. He goes, okay, whatever. And then he has a German Shepherd and he was like, whoa, Adolf, this is my dog Adolf. It was like, why are you calling him Adolf, like Adolf Hitler? He was like, oh, it's just a name, and then he walks into the kitchen and he has a flag with a swastika on it, and he's like, whoa, what's that? And he's making excuses for him having shit, and it's the same thing that Elon is doing. It's like, oh, look at all these other people raise their hands as well. Oh, it's not that, it's a Roman salute. And then he keeps posting stuff about, oh, we're gonna die if we don't make babies. Bro, Mexicans are making plenty of babies, but you're kicking those out. What you're really saying is you want the white babies to survive. That's what you're saying. When Elon Musk says we need to make more babies, he's talking about white babies, bro. He's not talking about no black babies, no brown babies. He don't like those. Those are icky to him. And he look at all that shit he posts, bro. Like I can't believe you guys don't realize that these people, they don't fuck with y'all, bro. They don't. Y'all keep trying to suck dick, and they don't even want it. Who refuses a blowjob? They do, because you're black, or brown, or whatever, or just not rich enough. Because they hate the poor whites as well. You are not like them at all. You're actually better, in my opinion. To those poor white people, you're actually better than the rich white people, in my opinion. You guys have more skills and you have more heart than a lot of these people have. But anyways, let me not get too much into that. And I was thinking about how the Romans used to use fighting and these events as political statements. And the thing about the Romans is that they didn't have it down to the way we have it down today. They have it down in a way to where they kept people entertained and they kept people distracted. And that's really what most of these sports events are. They're a distraction from the fact that you can't afford living. They give you an enemy. They give you somebody to hate. They give you somebody to point at, somebody to call a bad guy, somebody to cheer for, somebody to say, oh, that's my hero. You know, and meanwhile, you forget the fact that you can't afford living. You know, and there was a lot of things that were going involved that were involved in these games. A lot of the people that were fighting were representations of people that the Romans have conquered. You know, and in a way, it was almost like a flex to the people. Look, we conquered these guys, and these guys were crazy. You know, these guys were good fighters. And the thing is, one of these guys, his name was not this guy, Spartacus, and he was a hero that rebelled, or a hero, not a hero, a slave, a gladiator that rebelled against the Romans, and you know, he rose a bunch of people up against the Romans. Of course, he failed, but it was an uprising that kind of had them a little worried there for a second. And I feel like the Romans, and not just the Romans, but just people that are the elites around the world, learned from these games, and they learned that you have to let the right people win. You know, in order to keep certain narratives, in the minds of the people, you know, so that there won't be an uprising from your neighbors to the south or to the north or from wherever they are, you know. But you want to keep the closest guys, you know, you want to keep them steady, you know. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people say that it's all about money, you know, and money is the only thing that matters. It's absolutely not all about money. You know, money, it matters to people that can't print it out. If they could print out money, it doesn't matter to them. It matters to you, it matters to me, it matters to these boxers. But imagine if there's somebody out there that could print money, that has the ability to just make money out of nowhere. Kind of like the U.S. government. Do you think money is important to them? Or do you think that your belief in that money is more important? And not only your belief in that money, your belief in the system that they have built is more important. And in order for them to keep that, you know, strong, and to keep that belief in them, they have to appear strong. They have to appear superior to their enemies and to their allies. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. It's very simple. It's very easy to see, in my opinion. It's the same reason why Julio Cesar Chavez faced a bunch of Olympians and controversially beat most of them, except for forgot his name, Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, right? So, but the thing about a Mexican, guys, is that a Mexican, he always has that connection to his roots. You know, that's the thing that hurts even the Mexican American, like Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya, he is one of the whitest Mexicans that I can remember, in my opinion. But even then, you know, it's like the song says, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. You can try to be the golden boy, and you could try to do all that, but at the end of the day, you know, if they had to choose, they're going to choose somebody without any roots, without any connections to their lineage. Somebody who their own people don't even love. who their own people don't even claim. You know, and in my personal opinion, there's no one more American than more representative of America than a black man, than an African American. And that's been the case for the longest. It's just is what it is. Since Ali, since Jack Johnson, since Apollo Creed, that's a fictional character. But the American boxer is definitely a black man. You know, and I get why. I mean, it's just the way it seems like from the outside looking in now. Black people, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, and I would love to have a discussion about it. But that is my personal opinion. But anyways, I'm sorry to get too political on this one, guys. That is going to be it for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.